Good evening. Hello again after the new year. It is time for us to discover how Paul steps out. Stepping out is very important to leading. I'm Pastor John from Living Stones and Sunland, Tujunga Seventh-day Adventist Churches, and it is time for the call to prayer. Yes, it is time for the call to prayer, and it's wonderful to be here with you, my friends. We've had a new year come, and we had a great bunch of Sabbaths, and many people here, and I'm so glad to be able to be with you. I, of course, on the New Year Sabbath, was at Panamericana Church doing a baby dedication and preaching there, being translated into Spanish, and it's wonderful to be able to have a family of God all around the world. And this is what Paul was dealing with as he truly was stepping out. Before I begin, I want to remind everybody, this is, I believe this is episode 89. Wow, we're there, man, 89. So remember, smash that like button, subscribe, smash the like button, share right here, I think it is, and subscribe to our page. Whether you're on Facebook or on YouTube, subscribe. We want to have you with us. And for those of you on Instagram, I am so happy to have you with us. You'll notice we have a bit of a different format on Instagram because I know Instagrammers, all of us out there that are Instagrammers are a bit different. And so we've got our message. You guys are more interested in the message. And in the description box below, you can find the intercession if you want to be involved in prayer. And of course, you can IM me. I can add you to our prayer list. You are important as well. Everyone is important to us and our church, no matter what church you're from. You have a family here on Streams of Life. So back to the message. Where we ended was where Paul had to separate from John Mark. John Mark was great, and he was a support, always in the Jerusalem area. And if you'll remember, in the first missionary journey, Barnabas and Paul and also Mark went, but Mark left in the middle of persecution and problems. He got sick or he didn't like it. Don't know exactly what it was, but I do know that Paul did not appreciate having a missionary young person that isn't willing to move outside of the bubble of ease. We all have that culturally, don't we? We all have our bubble of ease. We Christians like to be in our bubble. And maybe you don't know about it, but you're in it, right? If you're a Christian, you're in that bubble. And that's where politics comes from. Politics is argument about the bubble, about the past, being involved in the past. But sometimes as a leader, you have to step out of the past to move forward. And as you have people with you going together toward that mission, if they are not willing to step out of the past, it stops you as a leader from being able to reach new people for the future. You see, that's always the question of any religion, any philosophy, any party, anything on this earth, even in a company. Your past is an anchor to be able to hold you to the principles of what you believe, but never allow the past to be a noose around your neck to stop truly reaching others. Politics is one of the ways that the devil, the ruler of this world, wishes to hold us back. John Mark is a good man. Paul loved him. In the book of 2 Timothy, he refers to him as my son, Mark. He loves Mark. But Mark did not have the stomach for mission like Paul did. Barnabas, of course, as we mentioned in the last one, being an encourager, he immediately took the side of Mark rather than Paul. Isn't that interesting? When we deal with our bubble, the comfortable bubble of Judaism, where we've grown up all our lives. Maybe we're Seventh-day Adventists, maybe you're Catholic, maybe you're whatever, your comfortable family bubble. When you have to step out, sometimes there are choices that must be made. Barnabas made his choice. He walked to encourage Mark. We don't hear much about Mark ever again in the Bible. Mark stayed where he wanted to be, and there's nothing wrong with that. Barnabas pretty much disappears from the pages of the Bible after this, because Barnabas supported Mark to stay, and they're going to preach. They decided to preach to the people they know. He didn't have the stomach for the kind of ministry Paul was about to do, but he found Silas, another Roman citizen. And we're going to discover, as you step out into an unknown world, you will find like-minded people who will support you. For God was about to send another young man, one who is willing to deal with all of the difficulties of real ministry to the world, to the Greek and Roman world. So, chapter 16 of Acts. Well, let's go ahead and end at chapter 15, verse 40. But Paul chose Silas and he left, commended by the believers to the grace of the Lord. He went through Syria, Cilicia, strengthening the churches. So he's going along the same path that he did north to the west, across, on top of the Mediterranean Sea, as he starts to move through modern-day Turkey, as he reaches all of the churches he had reached earlier. You remember that? He went through these churches. Now the second missionary journey is to strengthen these churches and to give them the word from Jerusalem Council, saying that it's okay for them to not be circumcised. They don't have to become Jewish to be with Jesus. You can be Jewish or non-Jewish to be with Jesus. So, chapter 16, verse 1. Paul came to Derbe and then Lystra, where a disciple named Timothy lived. Timothy, a young man. Timothy lived, whose mother was Jewish and a believer, but whose father was a Greek. There's a trend to find someone willing to actually reach out into the community around them. He had a third culture. You know what a third culture is? First culture is where you came from, which is Judaism, his mother. Then the second culture is where you are. He lived in the Greek world, in Derbe area. He lives in the Greek world, his father, which makes him neither one or the other. Kind of like Paul, kind of like Silas, Roman citizen, but yet Jewish, but yet Greek origin, but yet over from Tarshish. My friends, he knew people outside of his realms, and therefore he had a third culture. He was neither here nor there. My wife and I are like that. Anna's from the Philippines. I'm from the States. We met in Bangkok, Thailand. But when you are a missionary or a military person, you tend to have no real home. Your home is the idea. You can be in the States, you can be in the Philippines, you can be anywhere in the world, and yet you make that place your home, but yet it's not your home. And home is kind of different too, because sometimes people reject you in your own home, just like Jesus. You know, the people in Nazareth said to Jesus, isn't this the son of Joseph? They're living in their little Nazareth world. Jesus' world became bigger. And he said, a prophet's never accepted in his homeland. You have a third culture. This is the kingdom of heaven culture, where neither home is here or there, but home is heaven. Timothy latched onto them, or maybe perhaps Paul and Silas latched onto Timothy. All I know is Paul became a mentor, and Silas became a mentor to this young man, Timothy. Paul wanted to take him along on the journey, so he circumcised him. Now, here we go. They had letters saying you did not have to be circumcised. But yet, what Paul asked is, Timothy, let's be circumcised so no one judges you because you're young. Sometimes you got to do things to make modifications in your life so that you can also reach the Jewish brothers and sisters. Because remember, Judaism was the cradle in which Christianity was to bounce from. So he was circumcised, and that probably was not fun, my friends. Because the Jews who lived in the area, for they all knew that his father was a Greek. As they traveled from town to town, they delivered the decisions reached by the apostles and the elders in Jerusalem for the people to obey. So the churches were strengthened in faith, and they grew daily in numbers. So stepping out begins to grow. It's hard. It's hard to step out. But my call to you is to begin stepping out in faith yourself. Maybe stepping out would be just sharing this video. Maybe stepping out would be just liking it. Maybe stepping out would be saying God bless you to someone at the store instead of just saying happy holidays or something, Stepping out means you care in your heart, willing to step out in faith. It doesn't mean lambasting others and disagreeing with them because of your religious tradition. It means shining your light. Timothy was willing to be trained with Paul and Silas, and Timothy will become a strong leader. Mentorship is important with the young. For the young, but also for those of us who have less hair, who are getting older. Mentoring allows the message of God to move on. You must step out to do this. You must relinquish power to do this. And if you're not willing to relinquish power, maybe it's time to disconnect from those who don't want to release power. If they want to, they can stay in their land. But we have to move forward. We have to step out in faith. It's great to have you here with me. And we're going to continue through the book of Acts from one episode to the next. If you haven't seen the other episodes, go backward. You're going to love them. Lots of different messages from the Word of God. And we love you. In the next few moments, there will be intercession. I hope to see you there, 7:15. God bless you all.